Hey guys, it's Jackie Moore, and welcome to my channel where I talk all about Christianity, culture, and communication. And a lot of times I mix the three together. I started a company called More Than Words that resources believers and helps them live what they know to be true. Or in kind of more theological terms, I want to help people's orthodoxy become their orthopraxy. So, I'm so glad you're here, and I'm assuming you're here today because you want to know if you can take your daughter to go see the Barbie movie. So, just up front, I'm gonna give not too many spoilers, gonna try my best to be vague, but if you want a super vague review and just kind of figure it out yourself, you can go watch my video, Should a Christian Watch the Barbie Movie, where I'm super vague and I don't give any details or spoilers at all. So back to this video. First, I want to talk about Plugged In. I'm not sponsored by Plugged In. I just started doing this. I actually have no sponsors at all. So Plugged In, if you see this and you want to sponsor me, I'll take it. But I love Plugged In so much. My husband and I have been married for 10 years. We have 2 precious little baby girls. At the time of this, they're 9 months old. And we have been using Plugged In since before we were married. So for like 11 or 12 years when we started dating. Basically, Plugged In is this place where you can just go, type in a movie, type in Plugged In, and it pulls up a review. It's a nonprofit, Christian-based, where they give you a synopsis of what happened, and there's different categories. It will talk about like the violence that occurred, it talks about the sexual content, it talks about like any other negative elements. It'll give you a summary and kind of a like conclusion of what the writer, they have a few different writers, like whoever watched that movie, kind of their thoughts on the movie and just if they would recommend that you go see it or not. So we always use Plugged In, and I used Plugged In before going to watch this movie. So I went into it knowing to be prepared for like, okay, there's going to be some things in here that I don't agree with and I probably wouldn't want to bring a kid to, but I'm going to watch it. I feel okay about it. And I have no shame walking out of a movie theater. That's another thing. I've done that plenty of times where I went to a movie and then I was like, oh, wait, this is not what I expected. This is what I thought. Maybe I missed it in the Plugged In review or I didn't look at Plugged In, and I just leave. So with this, should you take your daughters to watch Barbie? I'm going to start this answer with an experience that happened. If you've watched my other video, you've already heard it, but I'm going to be more specific. So there's a part in this movie, in the Barbie movie, where they like over exaggerate something to show how not good it is and to show like the problems that are involved or intertwined with it. And one of those things is misogyny. And in this, it kind of gets pretty, well, okay, it's rated PG-13, so it's not like, whoa, crazy, the worst extreme you could ever imagine. But there's just like all of the Kens decide that they're gonna take over Barbie land and that they're going to fully embrace everything that is patriarchy. And I'm not talking about like, you know, Beth Moore's Bible study, the patriarchs, like the kind of how the world would define patriarchy and just like men dominance, women are below men, and basically women, the only reason they're created is to serve men, and that's all that they can do, and that's their only purpose. And so they're trying to make this point in the movie that that's not good, but they do this in like one scene in kind of a fairly extreme way where like all the Barbies are dressed in just like, I wouldn't say like it's revealing, but I wouldn't even say it's revealing. It's like they're dressed in suggestive outfits, if you can understand the difference and what I mean by that. And they're just all walking around like bringing the kids beers, and it's just like that what they're trying to communicate is like, this is what men should want women to do, or I don't know. Hard to explain. All that to be said, this family, the movie that I was in, with their 3 daughters, mom and dad, stand up and walk out during that scene. And I agree. Honestly, I may have walked out sooner personally, but just, I mean, they probably were like, their daughter was dying to see this, like, or daughters, and they just wanted to give another chance, and then it just got to the point where they're like, no, we can't do this. Like, they grabbed their popcorn, grabbed their Cokes, and left. And I would agree with that. From where I was sitting, the girls looked about like 11 or 12. I don't know if that really loud motorcycle was in the background. If it was, sorry, still learning how to edit. It's probably gonna still be there. Not gonna edit it out. But what I'll say is this movie is rated PG-13 for a reason. I wouldn't take anyone under 13 to see it, personally. I honestly probably wouldn't take anyone 15 and under, having taught freshmen. So I was a high school teacher for like 7 years, and I don't know. Sorry, 15-year-old freshman girl, if you're watching this, trying to see if your mom's gonna let you take it or not. I'm sorry, but I just don't know if, like, I think you're almost to this point cognitively at 15 where you can like differentiate and you can like understand sarcasm and you can understand the actual point that's being made, like what they're really saying. But I think like you still need a year or so to understand that. And so ultimately, all of this is your choice. This is just my opinion, but I wouldn't take anyone under 15 to see it because of how many themes are addressed by showing the negative. Like there's a scene where some construction workers like catcall Barbie, and she like walks over there and makes a statement about, you know, I don't know what you're saying or what you're doing, but I can tell by your tone that it's inappropriate, and I just want you to know that I don't have. And then she explains that she is a doll, and so she doesn't have everything that a human woman would have. Gonna leave it at that. But she's uses the correct biological term for it, and she says the same thing about Ken. And so I just think that, like, you know, younger teenager or preteen, definitely a child, wouldn't really know what to do with that. Like, they're not going to know how to process that. I personally would not want my 12-year-old, 13-year-old, 14-year-old, 15-year-old even like exposed to that and then have to like process through all of that. I just think it would be too complicated right now. So what about your 16, 17, 18-year-old daughter who all of her friends are going to see it, and she wants to go see it because she doesn't want to be left out? Should you take her? That is tricky. It's tricky. And here's what I would say. So I have 2 daughters, like I said. They are so sweet and precious. It's crazy to imagine them being like 16 or 17, but they will be one day. And would I let them see it? Not currently having to look my 17-year-old daughter in the face, but hoping for the conviction to like say, I don't think that you're ready for it, or I don't know that it would be helpful. I think that that's what I would say. I could also see myself saying, I'm gonna watch it first, and I'm gonna go with you. And if you feel uncomfortable at any point during the movie and you wanna leave, then you blame it on me and we will leave. So those are the 2 ways that I would handle that, because I get that I don't have a daughter that age yet, and so it's hard to know exactly how I would respond, but I would like to hope that I would say, I don't think that we're ready for it yet, for the just like mature more mature way of the statements that they're trying to make. If you watch it, or if you're just like, I feel like I'm gonna crush her, I don't know how to like say no to my 17-year-old, or if you're like, she goes and watches it and then tells you about it, I would just be ready with some questions. Like, you want to, it is a movie, and this wouldn't be weird. Like, the goal of this movie is to discuss things out of it. I don't care what anybody says. This is not, it has a good ending, but this is not like a feel-good, you know, Barbie movie. Everything is great and wonderful, and I don't know, I don't think it's what a lot of people expected it to be. So I would say that you should definitely ask some questions, which I'm going to give you some questions in the comments. If you look at that, or in the description, whichever one I can figure out, I'm going to give you some questions that you could ask that could be talking points once you go, or you find out your daughter has seen this movie, that you probably just want to talk about and address, and just constantly be making sure that like you're taking a biblical worldview and applying it to what the world is expressing as their view, right? And I would, you know, the last thing I would say is, this is Hollywood, right? This is not in the same way that any movie, unless it's made, and even some Christian movies, but it's definitely not, no one, the producer, the writer, none of the actors that I'm aware of are like expressively Christians. And so we can't expect that to happen. Like, we should probably expect there to be some things that we disagree with. But I will say that there are surprising amount of like redemptive themes and redemption that happens in this movie. So it's ultimately up to you. To restate my answer one more time, I probably wouldn't take anyone under 15, and at 16 to 18, I would be a little bit hesitant. It would depend on the maturity level of the girl, and I would definitely follow up with them. So I hope this was helpful. If you want to find out more about should Christians watch it, watch my other video, and like and subscribe for similar content. Bye.